Have you ever thought about how we celebrate and how we shame success in poker? If not, I invite you to watch this video until the end, where I'm sharing with you my thoughts on this whole topic. If you're new to this channel, my name is Andreas and I'm originally a high school teacher for languages, but these days I play lots of poker, specializing in pot limit Omaha. On this channel I talk about poker news, poker life and poker strategy. In this playlist, it's mostly going to be about my poker thoughts on different aspects of the industry. The way we celebrate poker has changed quite a bit over the last 10-15 years or so. The first episode of High Stakes Poker was recorded 15 years ago in the Golden Nugget, and players such as Tom Dwan were celebrated for having huge cash game sessions and playing big pots on TV. To my knowledge, this was the last time that cash game success was really celebrated in the poker industry. The only exception that I can think of that exists today is something like Live at the Bike that still celebrates some of these big cash game winners that are out there. I started playing poker in 2010, and about 2 years later I started playing poker for real money. And around then, the most prestigious events were online, at least the Scoop, the F-Tops, and for example, every Sunday there was were tournaments like the Sunday Million, and I think the winners of those tournaments online were celebrated. And of course, for live poker, there was the World Series of Poker, all these EPTs that were around. These were the celebrated tournament winners, whoever would take those big tournaments down. And I think about 4 years ago, when all these Twitch streamers came up and also vloggers, relatability got way more important. It wasn't just only the tournament success, but it was also, people playing poker, and you can experience that through them, that it was important for people celebrating. And of course, when somebody had that deep run on Twitch, then there was a lot of celebration, a lot of hype built around that, and that changed the landscape quite a bit. When it comes to shaming the success, traditionally it's all about people who sun run, people who are just always lucky winning coin flips, or at least that's the kind of thought that a lot of people entertain when they started playing poker. And honestly, also me, even up to today, I have some degree of that when I lose against somebody, getting just a little bit frustrated and calling people luck box, less willpower you have, and streaming, for instance, the more I will entertain these thoughts as well. And that is exactly how it has been until recently. In the last few years, there has been a new way of shaming people, or at least to a much larger degree than traditionally. I think it has been around forever, of course, but now there's more and more people who have studied solvers a lot, and that they are maybe playing a little bit more robotic just to mask their tells, and they're said to be players with no emotions, no fun to play with, etc. That's a form of actually shaming and trying to disincentivize this higher level of poker, so to speak. So enough observing about celebrating and shaming success in poker. Now I just want to talk about what I make of this. And the first thing, I want to go backwards and talk about the shaming first. Imagine a guy like Durr in today's times. I don't think that he would have that much of a popularity nowadays with all these solver talk being around and people playing more robotic. I mean, his table demeanor, he didn't show that much personality at a poker table back then, but he was just one of all these characters in high stakes poker, and he was just blending into the mix, right? But I think that when there's too many players with the same demeanor, has a hand on their shoulder, etc., at the poker table, that people get the sense of that there's just luck in the end. Whoever runs the hottest is going to win in these high stakes poker tournaments. And up to some degree, that's obviously true. These are all highly skilled poker players, at least the people who do that professionally, of course. And yeah, the luck element will be huge in those tournaments because the edges are going to be so small. And it also makes sense from another standpoint. A lot of players in the last few years now no longer are profitable at poker. And now these players, of course, traditionally again would call other people sunrunners, etc. But after some years, that just doesn't it's not believable anymore. So they kind of have to take shots at people's characters instead. This is not even only true for losing poker players or now losing poker players. It goes even to people who have been very successful and are very rich today from poker, such as Daniel Negreanu, who clearly has been belittling people who play online poker and have become successful at the game, and trying to shame them for being different in character from him, basically. If you want to take this further, there's also an additional reason with the privatization of poker games for people to shame some people for their different demeanor whatsoever, right? There's some people in these private games that don't want certain other people to play in these private games as well, because then they would have to share their AV with them. When it comes to celebrating poker success, then I think traditionally we've also done better in poker. I think there has been more prestige to winning certain tournaments back in the old days, or even just 10 years ago when I started playing. And today, with the influx of poker series and all poker sites, that there's always a poker series after poker series, at least in online poker, I think that we can't just really celebrate individual successes too much anymore, because there's just simply too many tournaments, and it doesn't really feel that special anymore when somebody has won something. I think the reason also why we celebrated successes in poker is obviously to attract new players, especially when there's a recreational winning a big tournament. I think that the poker industry makes a big effort of promoting that story in order to attract new players who then might believe that they can do the same. And the truth is they can in one tournament. I want to know from you whether you liked me basically presenting you what I've observed in terms of shaming and celebrating poker success first, and then giving you my take on it afterwards here in this video. Do you enjoy these reflections or that sort of monologue about that? Let me know in the comment section below. Maybe also disagree with it. In that case, you can let me know in the comment section as well. I don't mind to head into a small discussion if you have observed something entirely differently, or even if you have any thoughts on how we can do better and basically go a little bit off that track of where the poker industry is heading, because I frankly think that's just not too good, and how we deal with successes in poker, and that there could be a healthier way for the longevity of poker. I want to thank you for watching this video, and I'm going to see you for the next one.